The Tampa Bay Buccaneers play the Dallas Cowboys in literally less than 24 hours in week number 1. So let's talk about some of the players that we all should be keeping an eye on in this upcoming matchup. The first player being probably the most important player to watch, not just this week, but every single week. It is the captain, it is the GOAT, it is TB12. And folks, this has been a crazy offseason, a crazy training camp, and a crazy preseason due to all of the speculation and the doubt that has been thrown at Tom Brady throughout that entire length of time that I just described. What happened during his 40-day retirement? What happened during his 11-day absence away from the team? Apparently, almost every single team in the league almost got Tom Brady, which a lot of people have been turning into a narrative of, oh, well, the Buccaneers just lucked into him, which I feel like is not necessarily the case at all, but it just continues to pile on more and more and more doubt and questions from so many different outlets, from so many different opinions on Tom Brady. So I feel like Tom Brady is the most important person to watch in this upcoming game and throughout the entirety of the season, because it's up to Brady to silence those doubters, to silence those questions by going out there and playing winning football, which he has done time and time and time again. This time I feel like there is really more doubt than we have seen in the past few years by a decent amount. So it's going to be important now more than ever that Brady puts those doubters, puts all those questions to bed by going out there and just having good games. And it starts here with the Dallas Cowboys. Another player who's going to need to step up on the defensive side of things is Jamel Dean, who was just named the number 2 cornerback opposite Carlton Davis over Sean Murphy-Bunting. And there's been a lot of doubts on the secondary as well. I've seen a lot of people doubt guys like Carlton Davis, Jamel Dean, SMB. Not so much the safeties, they seem to be pretty exempt from that, but especially the cornerbacks, a lot of people seem to have doubt with. So Dean's going to have to start playing pretty well right off the bat to showcase that he belongs in that position as a number 2 cornerback. He's going up against a very strong Dallas Cowboys passing attack, but we've seen Dean show flashes of great cornerback play in the past. Fingers crossed that he will be able to do that in this upcoming matchup. Then, going along the offensive line, you have 2 new starting offensive linemen in Luke Goedeke and Robert Hainsey, both young offensive linemen who have earned the trust and confidence of the Buccaneers organization, but again, a lot of Bucs fans are a little bit cautious of right now. In the case of Robert Hainsey, he is replacing injured Pro Bowl center Ryan Jensen, who had sustained a knee injury earlier on in training camp, essentially right at the start of training camp. And overall, Hainsey has looked good, but there's still going to be those questions. There's still going to be that doubt from both fans and media alike. Tom Brady said recently that he hopes that these comments and this doubt is fueling his offensive line to play better. I certainly hope it would, considering you have the GOAT as your quarterback. You've got to go out there and give it your absolute all, which I feel Hainsey and Goedeke will do, and I think they will do a good job. And in the case of Luke Goedeke, to mention him real quick, recent second-round draft pick in the Bucs' most recent NFL draft. He is a glass eater, is what he has dubbed himself. He has a Mauler-type mentality, does still need to work on certain things like technique and penalties and things along those lines, but overall the Buccaneers have a pretty decent pair of young developmental offensive linemen who, by the way, are no slouches to get taken in the 2nd and 3rd rounds of a draft. We have seen plenty of productive offensive linemen get taken in those rounds in the past. Great examples: Donovan Smith, Ali Marpet. Ryan Jensen was a 6th round draft pick, for goodness sakes, folks. Good offensive lineman play can come from a lot of different places, and I'm confident in Goedeke and Hainsey. I'm excited to watch them play in this opening matchup, and I hope and think that they will do well. Couple other players on the offensive side of things, Julio Jones and Russell Gage. I talked about this at the top of the video. Tom Brady has some doubts with developing chemistry with not just his offensive linemen. Hainsey and Goedeke are included in that mix. They're the 2 main guys included in that mix. And in terms of pass catchers, you have Julio Jones and Russell Gage, which a lot of people have been hyping up Julio Jones. And it's hard not to buy into that hype. Jones has looked pretty decent throughout training camp and preseason, or he didn't really play that much in preseason. Point being, Jones has looked pretty good and people are hyped up about Jones. It is reasonable to understand why. If Jones can show even a fraction of what he was at his peak. This is going to be, and it pretty much already is in my opinion, the best wide receiver core in the NFL when everybody is healthy. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Julio Jones, and Russell Gage, which people I feel like have been sleeping on Russell Gage a little bit. I talked about him in a separate video a while ago in the offseason where I said Russell Gage was going to be a hidden superstar for this team. And you know what? Even with the addition of Julio Jones, I still believe that Gage is going to have a really solid role for the Bucs moving forward. I'm sure that Gage and Jones will be rotating in a lot with each other. It's going to be difficult to get all four of those Buccaneer wide receivers a healthy amount of playing time, but I still feel like Gage is going to be one of those guys who will develop into a Tom Brady receiver that Brady just likes to throw to on a regular basis. I think Gage is good in the slot. They're paying him a lot of big money, $10 million a year, warrants a good amount of playing time. So let's pay attention to Jones and Gage as they make their debut for the Bucs. Former Atlanta Falcons, now playing for the NFC South Buccaneers, division rivals of the Falcons. It's pretty cool to see this, and yeah, I'm excited for those guys to debut. And finally, we have Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, who is stepping up into a big role in his second year. He is the second pass rusher behind Shaq Barrett, replacing Jason Pierre-Paul from last year, who was dealing with injuries throughout the entirety of last year. JTS was rotating in during that time, and he looked pretty decent at some points, looked like a rookie at other points as well. So how will Joe Tryon-Shoyinka grow and develop now that he is a full-time starter? That is going to be a huge key for the Buccaneers pass rush and front seven efficiency as a whole. I know the Buccaneers have Akeem Hicks now, Vita Vea, and Will Golston on that D-line. That is fantastic. I know they have Shaq Barrett, they have Devin White, they have Levante David as the other linebackers. That's a fantastic group as well, but Joe Tryon-Shoyinka needs to pull his weight. He needs to do his part. So that is going to be an interesting situation to pay attention to. How will he look? The Buccaneers have some pretty decent backups waiting in the wings. You have guys like Carl Nassib, you have guys like Anthony Nelson who could rotate in if they need to, but obviously, you want to see JTS go out there. He was the Bucs' first-round draft pick last year, and you'll want to see him go out there and show that growth, show that development. Again, I am confident that he will be able to do so whenever he's got such a fantastic supporting cast around him. I think we will see a very solid year out of the second-year outside linebacker in Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. But, folks, that is it for the players that I think we should all be keeping an eye on in the Bucs Week 1 matchup versus the Dallas Cowboys. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. I would love to hear them. Don't forget, at 7:50, I believe is what I have the live stream scheduled at, I will be going live with my official reactions to the Bucs Week 1 matchup versus the Dallas Cowboys. Make sure you stay tuned in for that. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.